Hey, welcome to Business Breakthroughs. I'm your host, Neal Dipentino. I've been thinking about this. I'm thinking about taking a leap, but I'm not really sure what kind of leap. So, there's all kinds of leaps. There's like leapfrog. So, like maybe you go from one point, you jump over something else to get to something. Or maybe there's that leap of faith, which is not always the best leap to take because you never know what's really waiting on the other end. Or you can leap for success with the help from a coach. And that's what we're going to talk about a little bit today. Our guest today began her mentoring career 20 years ago in magazine publishing. And for the last 3 decades, she's been sharing skills and knowledge with others to succeed in their careers and their business. Please welcome to the show my guest today, Jaclyn Strominger from Leap Your. I said it before, now I can't say it. Leap to your success. Welcome to the show. I appreciate you being here today.
Oh, Neil, thank you so much for having me. I really, really appreciate it. It's really great. And helping people take leaps is exactly what I do.
I think we all kind of take a leap from time to time. I mean, and it might be, trying to find a new job. It might be starting a new business, maybe a relationship. I mean, everything is really kind of a leap. So I really like the name of your business. That's really cool. How'd you come about that?
So, the name of the business actually came because I myself had taken lots of made different changes, and it was always that leap of going into something different. And I was always, not to pat myself on the back, but I was really successful whenever I made changes because I knew and I was confident in myself to do that. And I kept thinking if I wanted to help other people, I want to help people take the leap for their success as well. So that's where Leap to Your Success came from. I really believe that we need to take those leaps at different ages and stages, and they're different. And having somebody to help guide you through those is really important. And I also always kept thinking about, like, not that I want to say I could have done things better, but I always have that, like, what if I had had a me now right when I graduated college? Like, and I had a coach that was helping me through those stages, through the different ages and careers. That was had no, you know, impact on my current job, but just was there to help me become better at what I was doing.
Yeah, we kind of like we go to school. All of a sudden, we're kind of like out in the real world, and we're trying to make our way, and we kind of have an idea of what it's going to be like based on things that we've heard, that we've seen, things we learn in school, the whole 9 yards. But when you get into the business world, into your career, and then even if you make a jump into business, it's like man, there's a whole lot more out there than you ever bargained for. So I agree with you. It would be nice to have somebody who has some experience that could help you and guide you along that way. So you've been a business coach, a life coach for quite some time now. Tell us a little bit about your business.
So my business is it's first of all, I love what I do, and it's great to actually, everybody's life and their business is part of a journey. And so for me, I really try to help people through different transitions. And those transitions, could be making that leap up in their career. So you might be at a company and you haven't gotten that promotion, or you're getting passed over. So what can we do to help you get that promotion? Or you're at a company and you realize it's really not the right fit, but there's that trepidation on making that leap out. So I love helping people I love to say level up or level out. Or you've been at a company and you're realizing you love something about what you do, and you love parts of what you do, but there's stuff that you don't, and you really want to take that passion of what you do love and turn that into something more, and turn that, as I say, turn passion into profit. So how can I help you make that transition? So it's really about coaching people through different transitions in their business and career. And even if and I work with also people who are who have this amazing career, but they're thinking about how are we going to transition into something else because I want to get out of what I've been doing. I'm done with this. I need to do something else. So we look at those transitions, and it's so rewarding.
I like that. I agree with exactly what you just said. I remember when I started my career, there were certain things that I really enjoyed. I was in radio. I enjoyed the production side of it. I got into sales by accident because I went to a small market radio station, and then at the radio station, and when you got 20,000 people in the county, you do everything. It's
Right.
not like you don't have a program director, and you don't have like a production director or this person or that person. It's like you're everything. I mean, I actually literally did everything. I did a morning show. I went home, changed clothes. I came back out and I started selling advertising. And I even went and changed light bulbs on the top of the tower, now 300 feet in the air.
Oh,
So you do just a
right.
little bit of everything. I realized I didn't like climbing towers. 'Cause I'm afraid of heights. I did the morning show. It was okay, but it was really not my thing. But production was something that I really enjoyed. And that led to a career in advertising and media. So I love exactly what you're saying. So how do you help a person determine what that passion is and then how to pursue that passion in business or in another career?
So that's really great. So one of the things that I do with my clients is we actually go through a values assessment. And so we look at what values are the most important to them. And then also have them spend some time thinking about what they are doing day to day and every month and what do they like. I ask them to write it down. And then we want to start seeing if their values are matching both with what they're doing and what they like to do. And then we start looking and saying, okay, let's look at other opportunities. What are some of the things that you like to do outside of work? What are the things that are part of your heart? Are you an animal lover? Do you like to give back? Are you super into athletics, or are you really into movies, or are you into I would say, like, is it cooking, or are you into, film production? Like, so what other things do you really like to do? And what are some of your interests? And let's see if we can find other companies that line up with your values, line up with what you like to do, you know, in your work, and also what line up with what you like to do outside.
Right. And I think that's key too. A lot of times, we go to work to make a dollar. We start a business because we think it's going to be something profitable. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really align with our personal life, with the things that we enjoy doing. I was in sales for a really long time. I was on probably in the air more than I was on the ground for the most part. But in doing that and traveling all over the country, I missed that community thing, being at home and being part of a community and part of my family's life that I really enjoy. So, in moving on to something else, it was like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to be able to, stay home, and I want to be able to find something that I can do with my passion here. So is that kind of what you're talking about in terms of finding?
Yeah, it's partly finding those passions. Like, so I think about, like, so I'll give a really good example. So I have a current client right now, and she's awesome. She was with a company, and unfortunately this happens a lot, where people are part of a company and it might be a toxic environment, and she ended up getting, it was so toxic, she actually ended up getting sick. So it was great. She was able to leave her where she was, and we just started looking at, I had her go through the values assessment and things that really matter to her. And then we started writing down the things that we're super passionate about. And she is now on a interview last couple of days with the Humane Society. But she's taking her skills, because she's huge at strategic growth and sales and advertising and relationship building. And she has all these great ideas. And she's talking about how she can do that for the Humane Society. And it's really great for me to be able to see a client start to light back up, because so many of my clients have been knocked down by their past employer, or where they've been, or where they are now. And so to bring that light back into them, That to me is like that priceless moment. So that is one of the key things that I love to do. How can we take what you're really good at? She's awesome at business development and growth. So how can we bring that into another industry? And it's also something that you can stand behind because you're passionate about. That's passion to profit.
Right, and not necessarily just another industry, but like you mentioned, she was in a toxic environment. Maybe, she didn't realize that her job, what she was doing, the tasks or the things that she did within that company she really liked, but it didn't seem like she did because the environment was so bad. So maybe going someplace else that has a better environment, maybe that's something that would be helpful.
Yep. And it, it was it's always really exciting for me to see when my client has that aha moment. Oh my God, this is really what I like. And sometimes they get so stuck in what they've been doing, they forget to look at all the good that they've done. And so I can help them redefine what they're doing. I mean, I looked at her resume. She was telling me what she was doing and she's talking about it. And I said, stop for a minute. I said, you need to look at what all you have done for your past companies. You have helped them grow. You have doubled income. You've added clients. You've increased revenue. And then, what did you like about that? The relationships, it's helping them. Great. What do we want to call you? You're a growth strategist. So sometimes it's like, okay, let me redefine what I call myself. And that's going to also help change the mindset of where they are so that they can turn around and say, you know what, I feel confident. I can go out to these other businesses because I have skills that these other businesses want. It might be in a different industry, but I am marketable and I know that I can help them. And these companies are more aligned with me and my values.
I like that. Let me ask you. I'm going to switch gears just ever so slightly.
Sure.
So we're talking about somebody going out and finding a new position because they're not necessarily happy where they're at or whatever's become stagnant. For whatever reason, they decide to move on and go someplace else. As a business owner, okay, what can a owner do to identify the talents and the traits and understand when somebody's maybe kind of thinking about making that move? How can they identify that and how can they change so that they can keep that employee?
Such a great question. So, one of the biggest things that I love to share with companies, and I like going into companies and doing this, is each company, whether and I want to define company almost as the team, right? So, whether you're a super big company, you're made up of lots of teams, or you're a smaller company, it's a team and you're a family. You really need to spend some time. I have a program. It's using the acronym LEAP. It's language, energy, action, and performance. So it starts with the language. So if you are the business owner and you've got a team and I'm part of your team, you need to spend some time talking to me specifically, not just about what I'm doing day to day, but what do I like? Maybe I like graphic design and I might be answering phones. But how do you know unless you talk to me? You have to use language to learn about your employees and the people on your team. Somebody may be in this role, but they might have a desire to try something else and they may not be the one to speak up and ask, but you still have to ask. You have to learn first and foremost about your employees. You also have to work with companies and teams to create the mission statement for the company and their team, because if I get up and saying what our mission is, it should also that mission should evoke a sense of pride, a sense of um, of creativity and empowerment for their employees and themselves, so that they're all looking and focusing on moving the ship the right direction, and that everybody's bought into that mission as well. And each person needs to be part of that on their team. Like, how are people playing out in that mission and where's their role? So it really starts with that language. And so then as an employer, we want to talk about that. Then it's looking at the energy of the people that are there. are we doing things to make people interactive with each other? It's and how is that energy working within the company? It's a little bit harder these days as we've got so many people remote, but you always hear, negativity is going to keep on perpetuating with negative talk. So we have to spin that and make sure that people are all talking positive. And if you have somebody that's speaking negative, we have to take that person aside, speak to them specifically, and they may have to leave the company because they may not be part of the mission. But we have to create that positive energy so that when everybody walks in or gets on Zoom, they're excited to be there and they feel like they are making a difference and they're part of the ship and they're all steering it together because they're working together as a team. And so then it's working into their actions and its performance, and people need recognition. So all of that to say, it really all starts with language and speaking to your employees and the people that are part of your team. Most people who are disgruntled or unhappy, a lot of times it's because they don't feel heard, they don't feel recognized, they don't feel like they're making a difference, or their manager might be somebody who is making them feel belittled, right?
Mhm.
People want to feel empowered, they want to feel good about what they're doing, and they want to feel part of a community. And that's where that team and mission comes in. So,
I totally agree with you 100%. I mean, it's all about communication, and I'm not just saying do this, do that. It's about interaction and understanding people. I've had positions where I've actually worked for a company for quite some time and had never been asked what my background was, and I'm glad to share it, no problem there. But at some point in time, it's like that person has to listen as well. So it really is about communicating. It's about being able to know your employees, know the people who work with you, your co-workers, if you will, and to kind of understand, like you said, what their strengths and their weaknesses are and what their desires are. I have a really good friend of mine who's an artist. He's a really, really good artist. He's actually a buyer for a tire company. And you think, well, that's kind of silly. Why would an artist go to work for a tire company? Well, he had to feed his family. So that's number one. But what got him to the position that he has today was through his art. He had a single store. He was, trying to drum up some business and make it exciting and everything. And he asked the ownership if it'd be all right if he painted a mural on the wall. And they were kind of resistant, but he did it anyway. They saw how creative he was and how much tenacity he has, and they said, this guy got to be a manager. They promoted him to corporate, and he's been there for 40 years.
oh,
So
that's
I mean,
awesome.
yeah, I mean, so that was kind of a pivot in a sense.
Right.
He doesn't do much with art anymore, but at the end of the day, it was that one thing that nobody knew about that really helped propel his career. And I think that could be anyone. That could be anybody that you work with.
Right. And I think one of the big things that you just said that is really important is you have to also give people a chance. So, you know, if somebody comes to you with an idea too, listen. It's all about the team. And so you may have a great idea and I may have a great idea, but what if those two ideas came together? So it's really about creating that and creating that teamwork with ideas, and and letting somebody else feel like, you know what? I'm heard. I feel heard. And that's so he felt heard. He was able to make this great mural.
It all worked out, and it's interesting too is that just by having that kind of communication, I mean, you just said this, it creates collaboration and that idea. I mean, everybody's got an idea. I mean, and some ideas are better than others, but a good idea can become a great idea if you collaborate with others. Sometimes, and sometimes too, you think that idea is really wonderful, and once you collaborate, you find out, you know what, it's not such a good idea. So, I mean,
Right.
that's yeah, I think communication is key. I mean, it's what it sounds like. That's what I hear you saying.
Yep. It is. And that's where the whole part of language comes in, because I think one of the things that I see so much, from my past career in publishing and where I was a manager and when I was just the worker, it all came down to it all comes down to how you talk with the people that you're working with and creating, excitement and getting everybody again working together. But you have to figure out, like, what does Neal want? What does Jacqueline want? And one of the things that I really like to do with my clients, and also with, whether it's corporate or individual, is, everybody's got to have a mission statement. You're the CEO of you. I'm the CEO of me. And part of me being the CEO of me is I get to do work. And whatever that work is, I need to make sure that it's going to be aligning with who I am, and that it it works for my family as well. And so how does, and as the CEO of me, I'm going through my life as a CEO. I'm going to have to shift and change, and my missions are going to change, but I always have to keep an eye on that, what my mission is for me, because I'm the CEO of me. And we
I like
need to
that.
treat
I'm
ourselves
sorry.
like that. No, and that's just how I feel like we need to be thinking of ourselves, I'm the CEO.
I think that's great advice. I think it's great advice not only in business or if looking for a new job, but in life in general. I mean, no matter what you do, you have to be, in charge of yourself. And it's funny how, like, sometimes when we go home and we sit with our family and everything, you can maybe take that position as the CEO, or maybe your wife takes or your spouse takes that same position and everything. But in life, then we sort of or we get into the job or in the workplace, we kind of like we take a step back,
Yeah.
so we can just take that energy that we have at home, and we can use that in the workplace or in the business. I mean, I think that'd be great.
It is. So I think that's, for me, one of the biggest things about helping people become the CEO of themselves and really owning that is it really helps you get off the hamster wheel, so that you're realizing that you're not just going through motions, you're living your life with a lot more purpose. And yes, we're going to work on things to help you pay the bills and all those things, but it's your life is a journey, and you don't want to get to the end of it being like, I woulda, shoulda, coulda.
Right.
So, right? So let's my thing is, let me help you get off the hamster wheel and start living your life and having it be more purposeful and on the journey that you want. Yes, you're going to have some snags, and at night it's not going to be a straight line, and life is always about, there's highs and lows, and you learn, like we learn at all those different stages. It's all learning. There's nothing is considered bad or a failure or a problem. It's all things that we can learn from. It's all about opportunities and learning.
Outstanding. I think everybody should get online right now and send you an email and hire you as a coach. You're awesome. I
Well, thank you.
appreciate that.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
absolutely. Hey, we're coming to the end. I got to ask this question because I just you said that you were in the magazine. This is totally different than what
Yep.
we've been talking about. You said you were in the magazine publishing industry for 20 years. What was that like? It was. I mean, I came from that same industry, and all the stuff that you talked about right here. I think that I spent a lot of time trying to find that thing I really like so I can get out of it. I don't know if you were the same way. That was a tough industry.
Yeah. So when I was in magazine publishing, I was actually in consumer marketing. It's circulation back in the day. And so it was right brain, left brain, because you got to analyze direct marketing and you got to be creative. So I loved it. Um, but I never had a me now where I could have someone that I could rely on to help me along my journey and to figure out where I was going. I always kept looking uh, for lack of a better word, the best manager mentor. And I was always searching for it. And finally, I realized I just have to do it. I knew I had to do it for me, for myself. But I had to go through a lot to get there. And then I realized, I loved the industry. But at one point, I knew I wanted to get out from behind a desk. I wanted to get into sales, and my boss at the time was like, he didn't want me to go, so he held me back. And And that was a big pivotal time for me. And I just said, you know what? I think it's going to be time for me to go. I need to find something else. I'm being held back because he doesn't want me to try something new that I think
Right.
I might be really good at.
Right.
So, so it was a great. I love that part of my life, my journey there. But it also helps me do a lot for my clients because you know, again, every part of our career is adds to our experiences and part of our journeys and what we can help other people with and how we can help other people um, grow.
Great. Well,
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, if I could find a time machine, I would take this podcast right now. I would go back in time and I would be your coach. And you'd be like, everything would be great, right?
Yeah. I'd like to be my own coach, right?
Then you could be your own coach, even better. I like
I want to
that.
hire myself. So,
Well,
um,
so Jacqueline, if our audience wants to get in contact with you, how do they go about that?
so they go to my website, go to leaptoyoursuccess.com, leaptoyoursuccess.com. You can go onto the contact page. You can fill out, I have an assessment that allows you to kind of, if you want to explore your career, your family, your job, take the assessment. And if you do that, you also get a free Passion to Profit strategy session with me. So I
Nice.
really say take the assessment, get the session. But so you can find me at my website at leaptoyoursuccess.com. You can also find me on Instagram at Jaclyn.Strominger, Facebook at Jaclyn Strominger, and on LinkedIn. But just go to my website, connect with me there, and so we can
Do
do
it. Do
it.
it today. Get that assessment. It's important. Well, thank you very much, Jacqueline, for being on the show. That is it for our show today. So thrilled that you could be with us. Business Breakthroughs is sponsored by Titan Digital. Check them out at titandigital.com. And check out our other great hosts on Small Business Delivered Network at smallbusinessdelivered.com. Until next time, thank you very much. Have a great day. Bye bye.